In the upcoming game Bleach Rebirth of Souls, Ulquiorra is best known as a glass cannon. While he has easy to use techniques, you have to understand how to manage his resources effectively in order to make the best use of his character. I'll be breaking down everything that makes him a good fighter and how to make the most of him. But first,
run that shit back!
Ulquiorra Schiffer is described to be a character who has easy to use techniques, and although it says it's easy to use, it does emphasize that it is important to manage his various gauges and determine the timing of his techniques. His unique techniques are powerful techniques that consume his own spiritual particles and deal high damage, and therefore are able to be used in a wide variety of situations. In addition, he is able to exert even more power towards the end of the battles with his second layer of sword release, which is unique even among the Espada. Ulquiorra has an attack of 3, a speed of 4, a range of 5, durability of 2, and a technique of 2. So one of the things is you're going to want to mainly focus on is your speed and range, since that's really where you excel. Due to his agility, he's going to have the upper hand when it comes to movement. He's going to be able to do some severe pokes to the enemy, and being a glass cannon, his techniques mainly emphasize that. When you look at his Void Flash or Hiseto, it consumes his own health to fire off Hiseto. In addition to increasing his combo damage, it can be used in a variety of ways, such as closing the gaps in attacks, as well as countering counter attacks. With his Spiritual Pressure Technique 1, you will gradually recover spiritual energy over time. Holding down the input will increase the recovered amount. With Spiritual Technique 2, you will also be consuming your spiritual power and your spiritual particles, meaning your health, as it releases another powerful Seto. It is an enhanced version of your signature move and can be used in the same way, and can even be used in succession of your signature move, meaning you can fire off 2 Setos back to back. This Zero is an enhanced version of your signature move, and it can be used in the same way, but it also can be used in succession of your signature move, meaning it can be used right after you use your signature move. Essentially, with that, you'll be dealing some high combo damage. Now, your awakening will be released once your fighting gauge has reached its maximum and you enter your evolution. Upon your awakening, your performance will be enhanced. The amount of spiritual power gained is particularly enhanced, making it easier to use spiritual pressure techniques, meaning you'll be gaining your spiritual power faster as you do your quick attacks. Once your fighting spirit has reached its limits and you have entered spirit drive, you'll be able to enter your awakening. It is possible to enter your reawakening from your stage 1 sword release. Making an educated guess here, although it says nothing about what the stage 2 power up is or if there's any additional buffs, I would imagine there is, or what would be the point of doing a reawakening. And so it'd be my educated assumption that the performance is also then again enhanced and your stats may also increase. You may or may not have a significant boost as well to your spiritual power gained, as I don't see any particular changes to that from your stage 1, but it does appear that you are somehow stronger, and you definitely appear to have a better range. As I mentioned in my Archetype video, many of the fighters in this roster are going to have a mix of archetypes. Some of them will be more pronounced, and where one of them will be more obvious than the other, but they may use a range of archetypes to fit the actual character model. Now with Ulquiorra, he's really a glass cannon, but he also has properties of a footsie archetype, and I'll be able to explain why. With a glass cannon, you have a high risk, high reward type of character design, and it excels in dealing high damage, but is extremely fragile. This is why his signature move, it deals a high amount of damage, also it allows you to increase your combo damage potential. So it also gives you a buff. The risk, however, is that you are also taking damage from this very technique. Therefore, you are a glass cannon for that very reason. The pros are that you are able to deal a high amount of damage output, you can put some pressure on the enemy, and you have a rewarding playstyle if you know how to use this character because it is very high skilled. On the opposite side, the con is really that it is a fragile type of character. He doesn't have much durability, as you saw from his stats. You're gonna have to figure out when's a good time to heal, whether that be with your reverse soul or with your regeneration. It also has a high skill ceiling, so therefore if you don't know how to use your resources properly, this is not the character for you. Additionally, you may get predictable, so you have to kind of know how to change it up and possibly even risk something because you want to be able to stay unpredictable. You cannot take damage, and so if someone like Zaraki gets a hold of you, oh boy, you better start regenerating. Now on the other hand, when it comes to being a footsie type character, a footsie type character is someone that is more emphasized in spatial control. They play a neutral game, and they normally just have some normal attacks. Now, footsie type archetype is a character that emphasizes precise spacing, a control of neutral game, and they are strategic of using normal attacks to outplay their opponents. They don't necessarily have a zoner or a rush down type of feel, but at the same time they can dominate from well-timed attacks. They have effective pokes. They are able to do some swift punishment by timing their attacks properly, and while they have some simpler tools, they have a high tier of skill to be used. Now, what they lack is that they tend not to have too many flashy moves. Their moves are rather simple, similar to just how he heals and he shoots a Zero. That he doesn't do much else than that. He's gonna give you a quick little jab here and there with his fencing abilities. He's not gonna do much else. That's Ulquiorra. He's straightforward and to the point, but at the same time, he's still lethal, you know. He is weak to aggression, and he is very reliant on the fundamentals, but at the end of the day, the fundamentals will always get you through. If you know what you're doing, if you know how to play, then Ulquiorra is for you. It means that you know the basics and you've mastered the basics to a degree where you are now Ulquiorra. That's another tier, okay? So that's really what it means to be Ulquiorra. He is a mix of glass cannon and footsie. So he does have the advantage with that. However, what you're going to need to understand is how to poke at them, do some footwork, and then be able to launch a big attack. One thing that you can do is, for example, is flash step. You immediately do flash step, do a poke, so that way you get half your gauge back for your reverse gauge. After you do that poke, as soon as you have an opening, you can use your signature move. That signature move will then allow you to have a bigger opening for spiritual technique 2, or you can also use it to use your special flash attack, so that way you can close in the gap as well, since your special flash attack is used in to close in the gap. Also, always remember your signature move, but not your spiritual pressure move 2, will always give you more combo damage. So it's a buff if you use it properly. You may always want to bust out your signature move before your signature pressure 2, or even before launching those series of combos, so that way you can do extra damage. Or, right after your signature move, you can decide to do a few pokes again with your quick attack. The reason I say this is because if you're dealing damage and you're trying to make sure you're staying on top, by doing the flash step into the pokes, you're doing a few quick attacks or maybe even a heavy attack. That opens up the enemy, which then allows you to do a signature move. After you do that, you'll be in a state where you are also damaged. So you'll have to decide, do I want to do more damage or do I want to recover? If you want to recover, you can take the spiritual power that you have, but it's better, of course, since you're in that opportunity, if you're close enough, do a few pokes, get some quick attacks in, and get the spiritual power up, so that way you can take a moment to step back and then heal. Or you can play the long game and keep doing pressure, keep attacking. You do the signature move, you follow it up with the spiritual technique 2, and then after that moment, you might not have that much spiritual power, so you'll want to continuously hunt them down, do some quick attacks, and then hold down the spiritual technique 1 to be able to heal. There's a lot of complexities when it comes to this character because you have to be able to manage your resources effectively. So you have to understand, okay, can I deal damage? Okay, am I gonna be hurt by dealing this damage? Okay, how should I go about this? So you're gonna wanna think a few steps ahead if you can to be able to really impound the damage that you're doing and also mitigate how much damage you're taking. A big key element for Ulquiorra is gonna be movement, footwork. Very much like the footsie archetypes, you're not so much focused on combos as much as your footwork and movement, being precise with your attacks. And that really is highly elevated by the fact that he's a fencer. He attacks in more of a fencer type movement. He's not doing his traditional swordsmanship. And so he's doing quick little jabs, getting in, and then using his speed to overwhelm his opponents, as well as his long reach. So keep that in mind when you're looking at how to move in close with him. Now, of course, we don't have all the combos that we can do with him, so we don't know all the potential combo variations he may have. But if you look, it seems that his reach is even further emphasized and even further extended when he goes into his awakening state, in reawakening state. And some things to note, you'll see the range of each attack if you notice exactly where the animation ends. Just in case, if you need help reading the range. Most of the attacks that he's doing seem to be more than well within range, and so understand you do have quite a good amount of range with Ulquiorra. Now most of the attacks are close to mid-range, but his Seto is actually very long range, so he can hit pretty much anybody that is within range, except maybe Geen. Always remember that your signature move is also a buff, so it will help with your combo damage, effectively increasing it as far as we can understand from the battle data text. And also his spiritual technique 1 costs 100 spiritual power points, where his spiritual technique 2 only costs 50, basically stating that his healing factor costs more than his damage output. Now, how you decide to move with that information is really up to you, but let me know what you think about this 3-star character Ulquiorra. He's amazing, but honestly, do you have the skill to use him? Let me know down in the comments. Will you be maining him? Is he not for you? How are we feeling? This has been your boy Saint Irving. I'll be doing more breakdown and guides as characters come out, and I'll be doing some advanced guides on all these characters once we have their combos and gameplay. For now, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.